Today we were going to be talking a little bit about once you have your permanent residency for Australia. At Mandeville Migration, we help you stay in Australia. So, congratulations, the big news, you've finally got your permanent residency. This is an amazing step and you should give yourself a pat on the back because no doubt you have worked hard to get there. But it is important that there are a few things you know once you've got your permanent residency. Generally, this is definitely the hardest step in a person's journey to migrate to Australia, but it is important to be mindful of certain things. So the first one is that you can stay in Australia indefinitely. That's great, you can stay here for as long as you like. However, you should note that generally you can only travel overseas for 5 years once you get that permanent residency. So you can go on all the trips that you want, that's fine. But then once that 5 years expires, you would have to apply for another visa. It's called a resident return visa, so that you can do your next trip overseas. So it's quite important to remember that, and you can always check whether the 5 years has expired or not. You can check on Vivo, your visa entitlement service, to check what visa you currently have if you're just not sure. So that's one thing to consider about your travel ability. The other thing to consider is that it is possible for a permanent visa to be cancelled. So for example, if you get into some criminal trouble, it is possible that your permanent residency visa is cancelled. So generally that's why it's a good idea to apply for your Australian citizenship as soon as you can. Because now that you're a permanent resident, you will be eligible to apply for Australian citizenship. Generally, this is once you've had your PR for 1 year and you've lived in Australia for 4 years. So that's something that's a really good idea to get done, because then once you're an Australian citizen, you're done and you can stay in Australia without any sort of further problems. So the other good thing, of course, is that as a permanent resident, there's a lot of things that you can do in Australia, similar to what an Australian citizen can do. So you can't vote, but you can access Centrelink, Medicare, all those sorts of things that you may not have been able to do when you were a temporary resident. So it's definitely a great step to have gotten. If you would like any further help for your visa, please contact Mandeville Migration. You can find us at mandevillemigration.com.au.